So how do you take fear out of the equation? Listen, the economy is going crazy. People's businesses are going crazy. People live in massive amounts of fear. All the talk these days with the tariffs, the stock market is all over the place, and fear is causing people to react, and just, it's like everybody's running around with impending doom inside of their mind. So in this video, guys, what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna help you guys release from fear. I'm gonna help you with dealing with fear so that you can move freely, so you can go after your goals, so you can stop hiding, so you can stop shutting down. We don't need more people living in fear. So I'm going to help you guys today in this video make a couple mindset shifts that can really just release you from fear altogether. All right. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Jeremiah Sullivan. I was a quitter in life. I gave up. I gave up on my dreams. And then I was a college dropout. And I said, screw this. I'm joining the military. And I became an enlisted soldier. I was an engineer. I was in the bottom 1% of the military. Changed my whole life and got to become part of the top 1% as a officer in the 75th Ranger Regiment. I became an infantry commander after that. And today I help people and businesses achieve their goals. I help them get body transformations, business transformations. And when I work with an individual, I work a lot on fear, man. I grew up with a ton of fear. I grew up hunting bear in the woods with my dads. I grew up in the woods hunting bear with my dad. And as I evolved and as I grew, I ended up, hunting humans in the military, essentially. And that's crazy, man. I've got like 20 something jumps out of a airplane. Did that when I was in the military. I have been through a lot of fear. So the thing that I wanted to give you guys today is that fear is controlling so many of your guys' lives. And it doesn't have to be that way. Okay. A lot of times people will tell you in personal development that fear stands for this. And this is like one of the first little mindset shifts that you guys can have to release from fear and change your relationship with it. And it's that people will say that fear is false evidence appearing real. So that's one frame, okay? And that's like very beginner. It's a very beginner mindset when it comes to fear. They'll say that fear is false evidence appearing real. And not to say that, like, listen, that mindset of believing that false evidence appearing real, when you have that type of mindset around fear doesn't hold as much power to you anymore, right? Basically what that acronym means is that you create these imaginary scenarios inside of your mind, like jumping out of a plane. I remember, like, when I went to airborne school, I jumped out of the plane, and one of my first jumps, there were two parachuters that got tangled up with one another. One of my first 5 jumps at airborne school. They got tangled up and they crashed right next to me. And so every jump after that, I thought about that scene. I thought about that scenario, that happening. And before I would jump, my mind would start racing. But I would start thinking about these fake scenarios that hadn't happened yet. This happened in the past, but it hadn't happened in the future, right? So false evidence appearing real is when the scenario in your mind is so great, it causes you to physically start shutting down. Okay? So fear in itself does not have to control you, and fear, the false evidence appearing real, is a frame that you can use to shift your mindset around fear. But here's the second one that I really wanted to give you guys. Now, if you don't learn how to confront your fears, they'll end up controlling you your whole life. Okay? Fear messed me up as a kid. My dad was a scary guy. And I wanted to make sure that he never got upset. So I would, out of fear, keep the household, at peace, make sure things were cleaned up, my brothers were taken care of. And over the years, between that, living in the house with my dad, and he was a great guy, don't get me wrong. He taught me a lot about, being a man and having great character. But he put the fear of God in me. Maybe I was just intimidated, maybe it wasn't even him, maybe it was just me. But the whole point that I'm trying to say here is that as my life continued to evolve, I started confronting fear. And I started reacting to it. And I developed this ability to confront my fears over and over again. So that's what actually led me to joining the military. Confronting my fear is what led me to joining the Rangers. Confronting my fear is what led me to run 100 miles in the Colorado Rockies. So if you start confronting your fears, you're going to start developing like a muscle against fear. You're going to get stronger at confronting it. But I learned something recently that I didn't know that I was doing. And somebody taught me this strategy, and it has changed my relationship and my mindset around fear tremendously. over the years, I got almost like climatized to fear. I got acclimated to it. I got accustomed to it. And I still feel nerves, but the fear stopped controlling me. I was able to lean in and take control in those moments where I was scared, like overseas or jumping out of another plane. In those moments, I was able to emotionally take control and confront my fears, because that's really what fear does to you. Fear, more than it's a false evidence appearing real, more than it's a fake scenario inside of your mind, fear is a feeling. Okay, and this is what I didn't know that I was doing, and I learned this recently to overcome fear. It's not that a person has a hard time with fear. It's not that they have a hard time with the scenarios in their mind. What everybody has a hard time with when it comes to fear is their relationship to the feeling. Think about this. When you get nervous about the markets turning down, when you get nervous about maybe changing your life, making a big jump into the unknown, you have that feeling that comes up, the nerves, the uncomfortableness, and fear starts to take over. Well, what is fear? Sure, there is a thought, but more importantly, fear is a feeling. And so what actually people struggle with is the feeling of fear. Their relationship to that feeling is uncomfortable, so uncomfortable that it changes their action. So if you really want to overcome fear, what you have to get really good at is you have to get good at emotionally controlling yourself when fear hits, which means detaching from the feeling of fear. Okay? What if you looked at fear as if it wasn't necessarily a bad thing? And this is what the person was teaching me the other day. So they said, what if you looked at fear as if it were a guide, as if it were something that was going to help you take the next step, as if you were there closing your eyes and about to jump into the abyss, but you were too nervous and fear showed up. Fear was standing there beside you, but fear was you as a child. Like if you closed your eyes and you started thinking about fear, fear was you as a child getting ready to jump into the abyss, telling you that everything is okay. And this person that taught me this, it created such an aha moment in my life that fear is not a thought, fear is a feeling. It changed my entire relationship with fear, because I realized over the years, between dropping out of school, joining the military, going with 4 deployments overseas, doing crazy things I've done some MMA cage fighting, 100-mile race, leaving my career in the military, jumping into my business and running that full time, just being fearless. I realized that the reason why I was able to do those things and why you guys, the thing that holds so many people back and how you guys can start embracing fear is by changing your emotional relationship to it. The next time that fear comes over you, next time you feel fear, I want you to sit and I want you to just think, and I want you just to embrace it. And almost like that time where you started, maybe one day you were crying and you just let the tears come out. You just released from the judgment that you had about the tears. You just let it happen. The next time fear shows up, just look at fear and be like, damn, that's nice. That's just an emotion that I have. I have no issues with this emotion. And see that fear as a potential good thing that's guiding you. It's guiding you towards your purpose. It's guiding you towards the next steps in your life. So what actually you're feeling, like a lot of people will say that fear is sometimes excitement, but what you're actually feeling in that moment of fear is you're feeling the direction. You're feeling guided. You're being guided. And so the second shift, the 2 shifts that I have you when it comes to fear and overcoming it is, number 1, you guys, fear is false evidence appearing real. Number 2, fear is a feeling. If you want to overcome fear, overcome your relationship to the feeling of fear. Shift your relationship to the feeling of fear. See the feeling as something good. See the feeling as something that doesn't hold you back. See it as, oh man, that's just a feeling that I'm carrying. Now, some of you guys will really understand this and you'll be like, man, that's a breakthrough moment. Some of you guys, you might think that's not a whole lot, like that's like some basic level stuff. If you really listen to what I'm sharing with you guys and you really apply it and you sit there and you go through a scenario in your mind that you're scared of and you just look at the scenario that's happening and you start to feel that fear and you release from it, if you actually apply what I'm teaching you, I know that this will be the lesson that helps you overcome the fears in your life. So the markets have turned, and maybe they're down when you're watching this video, maybe they're up, who cares? You have some scenario in your life that you're nervous about and scared about. Let's take a tactical pause. Let's look inward and realize that what's really going on inside of us is our relationship with the feeling of fear is taking over. So let's shift the feeling, let's shift the relationship, and accept that we're not being turned away from what's ours. We're actually being guided towards where we should go. I truly believe that on the other side of your fears is your purpose. I truly believe it. And that's coming from a guy that was deployed at 20 years old. And I want you guys to overcome your fears. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope it gave you some simple little mindset shifts that you can adopt and implement in your life to overcome all of the fears holding you guys back and conquer all. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next video.